Hey everyone! So I have been feeling really awful lately. I've been going through a lot of things recently, and some of my friends, they encouraged me to make storytime videos about it because some of it's relatable, some of it not so much. So that's what I'm doing. This is one of the ones I know is relatable. My dad's a bastard. Was, I should say. We're pretty sure he's dead now. So I've been really struggling lately with the issues I've developed throughout my entire life because of him. My mom was not raised in an emotionally healthy environment. So when she fell in love with a sociopath. And unfortunately, all my dad really wanted to do was marry a punching bag who would be his mom and take care of him. And he didn't want kids because he wanted to be basically an only child. Unfortunately, that was the complete opposite of what my mom wanted. She wanted to have a family and somebody to take care of her and blah blah blah. And so obviously there were a lot of problems. I was always aware on some level that my dad did not give a shit about me. Like, not even slightly. It made no real difference to him whether or not I continue to exist. Let alone that I continued to exist in his life. The first dream I remember having, I was very, very young. In this dream, the only mode of transportation I really considered was other people carrying me. I did not really have an awareness that I could move myself from place to place. Other people had to move me there. So I was a really little baby at the time. And I remember in the dream that my dad was throwing me up and catching me repeatedly in the backyard of our house, and that was my favorite game when I was awake. Unfortunately, in the dream, he was throwing me higher and higher and higher, and I started to get kind of scared. I started to worry, you know, because I was going up really, really high, and eventually he threw me too high. And I just kept going. I didn't fall down again. I just kept going up and up and up. And I was screaming for my dad and to come get me or something. And he was just looking up at me like, oh, you're going. Okay. Huh. My mom came into view and she looked worried. I mean, she was scared she was never going to see me again, but my dad just did not give a shit. And I just kept going and going and going until I woke up from all the fear and frustration. And that dream has stuck with me my entire life. In fact, the very next dream that I remember having was years later when I could actually walk a little bit, but I wasn't tall enough to reach doorknobs yet. And it was the exact same theme. Mom and Dad had gone for a walk. They closed the screen door behind them. I could see them as they were going, but I was like, wait a second, you forgot about me. And I'm screaming for them, but they can't hear me. And so my only two dreams that I could remember for years were both about abandonment. Because I was basically abandoned the day I was born. I mean, yeah, my mom loved me, but I only had one parent. You're supposed to have both of them. You're supposed to have both caring about you. And when you don't, you start, I mean, because when you're a kid, you always think everything's your fault. So, of course, you're wondering what's wrong with you that one of them doesn't care. And unfortunately, my problem is compounded a little bit by the fact that I understand his psychology. I know he is literally incapable of giving a shit about anyone except himself. He decided to go into the bubble. He did not want to care about anybody but him because caring about anybody else was just too much. I mean, he was abused his entire life. His dad would spank him until he got bored of spanking. So that would go on for like an hour. And, I mean, he actually knew the day that it happened. It was one of the hour-long spank fests, and Dad just got tired of feeling, and all of a sudden he stopped screaming and crying, and it freaked his dad out so much that the guy stopped. And he never felt anything again. Unless he was in crisis, he did not feel alive. Why? Because he cut himself off from all his feeling. I mean, any emotion. It didn't matter what it was. So, unless reality was basically throttling him, it didn't get through. I knew he could never love me, and I knew that it had absolutely nothing to do with me after I grew up. Unfortunately, I still have all the years when I had no idea what the problem was, and I wasn't even really paying attention to the fact there was a problem. I was trying to ignore it. So I've got all of these buried feelings that I'm not even aware of most of the time, that are just kind of in the background, tanking my mood, making me feel depressed no matter what's going on. Some people really should not have children, or get married, or be in relationships, period. If you can't enter into any kind of relationship with the understanding that you have a responsibility to the other person you're in it with, most especially to children, stay the hell out. Because you are not doing anybody any favors, least of all yourself. Children deserve somebody who actually wants to give them the things they need and deserve. Because they deserve it. I haven't done anything to anybody yet. But I wish I had a dad. I mean, I see all these programs where the girl gets to be daddy's little girl, and oh, I haven't gotten to do any of that. I never really had a real dad. Someone who really acted like a dad. My mom got a boyfriend later who was more of a big brother sort of dad. You know, he was there for the fun stuff, but when it came time to setting limitations or, you know, guiding people, it kind of fell to my mom because he didn't really know how to do it right. He didn't really know how to discipline as opposed to yelling and basically losing your temper. You know, that's not helpful. So my mom ended up being my dad, which it's better than nothing, but it's not the same. And I spent decades trying really, really hard to ignore all of this. And all it's done is bury it so deep that I'm having a really hard time finding it, uncovering it, to deal with it. I've known for several years that this was a problem, a really big problem. I've known even longer that it was a problem. But I haven't really been able to deal with it. So this entire time, it's just been festering and getting worse. And feeling my depression. And not to mention all the other issues I have. I am messed up in a lot of ways. It's been really, really hard trying to fix it all, especially since you have to deal with the root problem before you can fix all of the emotional issues that have been caused by it. I mean, it's like when you're building a house, you gotta build a nice sturdy foundation first before you can put up your drywall and paint everything. You try to do it the other way around and you're gonna end up with a really shoddy mess that falls over in 2 years. Or the first time the basketball accidentally hits the garage. But after years of doing this the wrong way, so many wrong ways, I have learned that it doesn't matter what wrong or easy or knee-jerk reaction way you choose to deal with the issue. There's really only one way to actually fix it, because everything else is just going to screw up your life even worse than it already is. You need to talk it out with somebody who at least sort of knows what they're doing and cares about how you feel afterward. There are a lot of terrible psychologists out there. There are a lot of terrible psychiatrists that just want to drug you up. And there are a lot of terrible friends and family who really just want to stop listening. You gotta find the right people to talk to, or that's also going to make things worse. And you need to face it, even though it's scary and you really don't want to. Because until you face it and deal with the emotions, they're always going to be there, and they're going to get worse as they build up and bury deep. It's always more work to deal with it later. And it's always more painful to deal with it later, especially since now you've got a whole bunch of screwed up mistakes in your past, and you have to deal with the consequences of that too. And when it comes to daddy and mommy issues, more than likely you're going to end up with seriously screwed up relationships too. I'm glad I haven't dated yet. I mean, I am 31 years old and I've never knowingly gone out on a date. Fortunately, now I've managed to get past the abuse aspect of the relationship I grew up with. So now at least I'm not going for that kind of a guy. I still seem to be attracted to way too many people who are rather screwed up. And who can't seem to really sustain a relationship too well. So that's also not helpful. But progress is progress. But yeah, I still have a long way to go before I can have a healthy relationship. And hopefully I'm going to be able to deal with all the feelings I've been having because somebody was irresponsible in a relationship. Let me know if you guys liked this video and if any of you can commiserate with it. I was really conflicted about doing this sort of a video and putting it up. I thought it might have been a real downer. So let me know if this was a hit or a miss. Thank you.